Mike, check. Justin Hunt. It's all happening. Thank you to everybody rocking with the channel. Thank you to everybody subscribed through the channel who shared the video, shared the link. It's priceless. Big thank you to everyone who's donated. If you'd like to donate, you can hit the Cash App that's right up there, or you can hit the link in the description. And big thank you to all my newest members. Savage Zoe, Amon Ra, Tamila, Quiet Storm. That's a dope spelling, Quiet Storm. Madi Quatez, Andy P, Cigarette Toothbrush. Now that sounds like a contradiction in the best kind of way. Treco Gallico, 9-second applause. Thank you. It's all happening. Big stories today, bunch of stories today. And some things I'm experimenting with today. I'm experimenting with some coverage on some artists you haven't heard of. So you'll be seeing those as well. But primary story, because I have not covered this yet. Drake reaches settlement with iHeart Media in dispute over Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. Now, so how did we get here? iHeart was named in a petition as part of Drake's defamation case against UMG. Now, this takes place in Texas. iHeart and Spotify were also viewed as being part of the Payola scandal, quote unquote, or at least allegations that Drake is levying at UMG. So let's take a look at CBS News and how they reported it. Drake has reached a settlement with Texas-based iHeart Media in his ongoing legal dispute over Kendrick Lamar's diss track, Not Like Us, according to court records. In November, Drake filed a legal petition in Bexar County, Texas. I got it right this time. Bexar County, Texas. 1-second applause to Bexar County, Texas, where San Antonio is located, alleging that iHeart had received illegal payments from Universal Music Group to boost radio airplay for Not Like Us. UMG is the parent record label for both Drake and Lamar. So again, look at that. Universal Music Group to boost radio airplay for Not Like Us. Right. Essentially, that's a Payola allegation. The petition, a precursor to a potential lawsuit, has sought depositions from corporate representatives of both companies. In a court document filed Thursday, attorneys for Drake said the rapper and iHeart Media had reached an amicable resolution for the dispute, but did not offer any other information. So this filing there was no information that was provided around this. It was just basically, hey, we reached an agreement, everything's good. Right, so there's a lot of questions. People have a lot of questions about what are the details of this resolution, something we may or may not ever really know the details of, but the dispute has been resolved. Here's a statement from Drake's team. We are pleased that the parties were able to reach a settlement satisfactory to both sides and have no further comment on this matter. No comment. All right. In an email Friday, iHeart Media declined to comment on the settlement. The claims against UMG remain active, and a hearing on a motion by UMG's lawyers to dismiss the petition was scheduled to be held Wednesday in a San Antonio courtroom. Drake has alleged UMG engaged in irregular and inappropriate business practices to get radio airplay for Not Like Us. The petition also alleges that UMG knew the song itself, as well as its accompanying album art and music video, attacked the character of another one of UMG's most prominent artists, Drake, by falsely accusing him of being a S offender, engaging in pedophilic acts, harboring S offenders, and committing other criminal S acts. I'm sorry. I mean, it's a song. You know what I'm saying? It's a diss track, and it is now a part of legal history. Not even just hip hop history, legal history. Oops, 1-second applause to Kendrick Lamar. An email to a UMG representative seeking comment was not immediately answered. Here's some of the backstory. In January, Drake filed a defamation lawsuit in federal court in New York City against UMG over what he alleges are false allegations of pedophilia made in Not Like Us. Lamar is not named in the lawsuit. The feud between Drake, a 38-year-old Canadian rapper and singer and 5-time Grammy winner, and Lamar, a 37-year-old Pulitzer Prize winner who headlined the Super Bowl halftime show on February 9, is among the biggest in hip-hop in recent years. The Federal Communications Commission sent a letter Monday to iHeart CEO and chairman Robert Pittman, saying the commission is looking into whether the audio company is forcing musicians to perform at its May Country Festival in Austin for reduced pay in exchange for favorable airplay on their songs on iHeart radio stations. We're going to cover that. We're going to get into that as part of this block because that's significant as well. Here's a statement. We look forward to demonstrating to the commission how performing at the iHeart Country Festival or declining to do so has no bearing on our station's airplay. We do not make any overt or covert agreements about airplay with artists performing at our events. All right, so takeaway here is iHeart and Drake's team have reached a settlement. And also iHeart is now in the crosshairs of the FCC for Payola allegations. Maybe not Payola, but Payola allegations, right? You got to rock at our festival for a reduced price or else your airplay might decrease. Right. And so, you know, the music industry has always operated with payola. You know, I am not for payola. I would love it. I would love for these things to be a fair marketplace over, you know, where everyone gets an opportunity. But we're in a monopolized, consolidated environment. This is not the 70s, 80s, 90s where you had local radio that wasn't owned by the same companies in the same way. And so, you know, when you have a top-down environment that way, they pull all the levers and they, in my opinion, tend to manipulate the artists every chance they get. All right, so let's go over to Hot New Hip Hop, because I really like the way that Hot New Hip Hop talked about this FCC story. Okay, so here's the FCC story from Hot New Hip Hop. Shout out to Hot New Hip Hop. You know, they just did a feature that included me, Anthony Fantano, Screwface Jean, Jeremy Hecht, on the media side of Kendrick versus Drake. Check it out if you missed it. I'll put another link in the description. It's also on my community page. So here's Hot New Hip Hop. The FCC is taking a look at iHeartMedia's upcoming iHeart Country Festival, and the move has Drake fans taking notice. Drake fans taking notice. The FCC is taking a look at iHeart's upcoming iHeart Country Festival in Austin as part of a sweeping investigation into whether radio stations have been boosting artists' airplay in exchange for them performing at the event for free. For free. Yo, give us, 20, 30, 40 minutes on stage and, we'll make sure you in all them radio stations, you in all those cars. We'll make sure that you're in everybody's car. The move has fans on social media praising Drake, who recently filed a defamation suit against UMG, accusing the company of allegedly using payola to artificially boost the popularity of Kendrick Lamar's diss track, Not Like Us. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr laid out the commission's concerns in a lengthy letter he sent to iHeartMedia Chairman CEO Robert Whitman on Monday. As caught by Billboard, Carr explained that he wants to know whether iHeart is effectively and secretly forcing musicians to choose between one, receiving their usual, ordinary, and full-scale compensation for performing, or two, receiving less favorable airplay on iHeart radio stations. He went on to warn that certain owners of federally licensed radio stations are effectively compelling musicians to perform at the radio station events or festivals for free or for reduced compensation in exchange for more favorable airplay. Doing so will violate federal bans on practices like payola. And this is happening on the countryside of the industry, right? So we're gonna have to keep a lookout on CEO Robert Pittman. The article goes on. Why is Drake suing UMG? As for Drake's lawsuit, he's alleged that UMG boosted the success of Not Like Us in an effort to devalue his brand amid contract negotiations. In his latest filing, his attorney, Michael J. Gottlieb, referenced Kendrick Lamar's performance at the Super Bowl. Well, as we can all see, because it's been trending ever since, he didn't say the PDF word. He didn't say the word, which I found interesting, but I also think that was probably the case with this in mind. Nevertheless, Drake's attorney referenced the Super Bowl. Gottlieb explained that delaying discovery would unfairly prejudice Drake, who is continuing to suffer the consequences of UMG's defamatory campaign. Indeed, at the same time, UMG has been delaying here. UMG launched new campaigns to further spread the defamatory content, including at the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show, which had over 133.5 million viewers. Most viewed ever. 1 second applause. When Billboard shared news about the FCC investigation into iHeart Media on X, formerly Twitter, on Wednesday, many users shared GIFs of Drake in response. It just seems like all hip-hop media outlets work for the record labels, shaking my head, including most reactors. This is some nasty, disgusting work right here. Not gonna lie, the last Drake album I rocked with was Nothing Was the Same, but he definitely making me look at him differently, exposing the industry like this. That sounds like a bot. I'm sorry. I don't have any other facts other than how bots tend to talk. They always try to make it seem as, quote, unbiased as possible. Not gonna lie, the last Drake album I rocked with was Nothing Was the Same, but he definitely making me look at him differently, exposing the industry like this. Like, you see this away from just Drake and Kendrick, away from just music. You see this stuff with Trump. Not gonna lie, I didn't vote for Trump at all. But, now that he's pumped $330 trillion, $330 billion into the crypto space, I'm looking at him differently. We all need to get behind $XRP. This is how these tweets tend to be structured. I have no confirmation, no clue, but that's just how bots talk. And if you talk like that, maybe you're a bot too. 1 second applause. Another replied, Drake lawsuit is exposing the truth. And so I look at these conversations and it's so convenient to me. It's so convenient. Like, Drake is by far the most industry-backed person I think we've probably ever seen. The number of different people who are tied to him. Yeah, Cash Money, Young Money, Republic, Universal, Rap a Lot, J Prince, Jazz Prince. Everybody was on board with Drake because Drake was so palatable and so crucial to this industry for so long. And no one had any. The people who seem to be supporting Drake with this are not the same people and never had this look at the industry before. You never really saw them complain about the predatory nature of the industry. You saw them celebrate all of Drake's success, all of Drake's chart success. But now that he's suing the industry, essentially because he lost a rap battle so badly that he's making an argument that the songs themselves defamed him and devalued him in the marketplace. And so now he's attacking the industry, wanting to tear down the industry. It's like, man, Drake he's our savior. Well, Kanye did this. He didn't sue anybody. He didn't need to sue anybody. Kanye took the brunt of his point on the chin. He went outside and did all kinds of arguably self-sabotaging things to make the same point. He didn't have to go sue. He didn't have to arguably take down diss tracks in the process. He didn't have to ruin opportunities for other people potentially. He just did it on his own. So I'm not with all this this faux altruism. This faux, Drake is a savior narrative. All these people sit around talking about, oh my God, Kendrick Lamar is acting like he's a savior. Well, you guys are treating Drake like he's a savior for suing over a diss track when it's one of the most self-serving acts I've seen from one of the most self-serving artists to ever reach the top of hip hop. It's ironic to me, but nevertheless. So there's two things happening, right? And so this FCC investigation into iHeart was announced a day before, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a day before the iHeart resolution with Drake was announced. All right, so the timelines are very close together. And as you know, iHeart, in my mind, there's no way iHeart's not engaging in Payola. You know, I worked in the music industry. I worked at Empire. Every label has a radio team. They have a radio team, and their job is to get songs on the radio. You know, it's not the way it used to be where you show up with a bag of cash, but their job is to get songs on the radio. And if you are a radio programmer in whatever market, your job is to play the songs that are the hottest or the songs that you think are the hottest. And there's all kinds of ways to motivate someone in that position to play those songs. When you, again, are in a monopolized market and every label has a radio team, the success of people who are on that radio team is built off of their ability to get songs in this marketplace. And there's a number on it. If you give me $1 million, I can get you in the top 20. And the fact that there's a number that people can estimate to that, I think it makes it kind of obvious that Payola has evolved. If it costs money to get a number one hit, to get a number one song on radio, rather, and radio is a huge part of how the Billboard charts work. It's not just streaming. Radio is a part of that too. Give me $1 million and get you top 20. It's the environment that we're in. Now, over at R Drizzy. I spent a lot of time on R Drizzy. Oh, R Drizzy. And Torontology. There's a lot of interesting stories on Torontology, too. One second applause to Torontology. They cover all kinds of things that are happening in Toronto, not just this beef or this battle or Drake-related stuff. But R Drizzy is all about Drake. And so this post here, thoughts, could this be a likely scenario, right? And so here is what 77 Antoine the Fresh is hypothesizing here over at R Drizzy. Dropped his suit against everyone except UMG because Spotify and iHeart are snitching. LOL. Stay tuned, bro. Stay tuned. This is that's a retweet off the OVO docket. And so they're assuming or projecting or hypothesizing that iHeart and Spotify are snitching. So this rumor has been going around, something else to keep an eye on. I don't know what the snitch would be. Yeah, UMG paid us. I feel like that would implicate them. I think that would discredit both organizations if that was the case. Like if they went and settled and iHeart snitched and then Drake still continues with this suit against UMG and says, yo, iHeart told me that you guys paid them. That would implicate iHeart. Or if Drake and Spotify settled and their assumption is Spotify snitched and the song was botted, well, that would discredit Spotify's business model. I can't see it. I can't see that being the thing. But this is a conversation that is going around. Here's another tweet that says that. That's literally what I think is happening. They snitching on UMG. People forget, next tweet, people forget that the original suit was a petition for evidence. Drake was telling them, I have proof that one of y'all manipulated streams, so prove to me it wasn't you. A few months later, bam, UMG gets a federal case while Spotify and iHeart and Drake have reached resolutions. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. Again, this case may never go to trial. And perhaps if they are snitching, then they're going to present that evidence to UMG before trial and say, look, this is what I got. You guys want to go to trial? Now, I think that is a tough, I don't necessarily see it that way. I'm not a legal expert, but something else to keep an eye on. So shout out to R Drizzy for that info. So again, these two cases are very close. You got the iHeart settled with Drake. And then while the FCC is investigating iHeart. I want to read a piece of this quote from the FCC in their statement. Here is what they said. It would be particularly concerning to me if, on the heels of the FCC's enforcement advisory, iHeart is proceeding in a manner that does not comply with federal payola requirements. Indeed, I want to know whether iHeart is effectively and secretly forcing musicians to choose between 1, receiving their usual ordinary full-scale compensation for performing, or 2, receiving less favorable airplay on iHeart radio stations. All right, and so this is putting iHeart CEO in the crosshairs. Right now, I want to shout out Demiza. Big shout out to Demiza. 1 second applause. Demiza is a longtime radio guy. He spent most of his career in the radio industry. And here's his reaction. Here's his reaction to all of this. So let's take a look at what Demiza has to say.
Oh, good morning. Apparently, I stirred the pot a bit with my iHeart post and the settlement. You know, I said that anytime a radio station settles a case that has to do with payola, it's all bad. And the reason why I said that, in the 40 years that I've been doing radio, the one thing that you can accuse a radio station, a program director, music director, DJ, anything of, and get a visceral response is that they did payola. And you fight tooth and nail to clear yourself immediately, because if not, then the next thing that comes is a federal investigation into your practices. Because, I mean, look, okay, perfect example. Did you notice that right before this announcement of the settlement came out, like a day or the same day, an announcement came out that the Federal Communications Commission was looking into iHeart's payola issues with concerts? Like, you don't think that's attached? I mean, they were just about to go into the depositions and look at the relationship between iHeart and UMG. Now, in those depositions, if there was anything that could affect the UMG case as well, you know, I mean, and it's just a little weird that iHeart does not make a statement about this. I'd watch out for the CEO for the next couple of weeks at iHeart. Just watch.
So that's Demiza. Demiza is out here saying, hey, it's all bad. It's all bad. And so we'll have to keep an eye out on the CEO for the next few months. You know, and so, you know, this is one of those things. This is one of those things where the timing of this is very interesting, to his point. The FCC is looking into iHeart payola over their iHeart Country Festival. And the next day they settle with Drake, right? And so there's people who are speculating that this means that they snitched. And so if they snitched, then I guess they use that as leverage against UMG pre-trial. But if they snitch, they're a part of the collusion. And that exposes the entire industry, an industry that's propped up Drake for the past 15 years, right? And so I mentioned this in the Shakespearean Shakedown piece. You know, Drake's had ghostwriting allegations for a long time, but now if he goes through this, now I'm looking at his entire catalog as, how dope is he really? How much help has he been getting? Because there's no doubt in my mind he's received more help than anyone else. No, in hip hop, definitely. And so we'll have to keep an eye on this. Now, again, last week, like we covered, Drake canceled his Australian Anita Max Win tour, at least the last 4 dates. And he's back in America. Well, North America. Back in North America. So here is a clip of him at WWE's Elimination Chamber. I think that's what this is called. Let's take a look. There's Drake right there. Let's see. Where is he at? There's Drake right here with Lil Yachty.
It's going to be great. But ladies and gentlemen, you know, this week, TKO announced the first ever.
Right there. So I think it's at the Air Canada Center. Is that what it's called? Air Canada Center? Let me see. T-Mobile Center. I believe this took place in Canada. I might be wrong. Someone let me know if this was in Canada. Shout out to Deluxe the Champ. 1 second applause to Deluxe the Champ. Got his viral tweet on. It says, I'm allergic to the lame shit. Only you like being famous. Shouty can't give you no swag neither. I don't give a F about who you hang with. Kendrick Lamar and Euphoria. 1 second applause to Euphoria. Also, last night was the Oscars. Drake took a lot of shots this weekend. Drake took a whole bunch of shots on SNL. You know, there was a skit where they were pretending, a bunch of women pretended that they were women Drake has talked about in his songs. And then at the Oscars, Conan O'Brien said this.
Well, we're halfway through the show, which means it's time for Kendrick Lamar to come out and call Drake a pedophile. Don't worry, I'm lawyered up.
Don't worry. I'm lawyered up. 1 second of pause. So, perhaps this is more fodder for their lawsuit. Perhaps we're going to expect to see an update to the legal filing stating, look, here's another one, Conan O'Brien at the Oscars and SNL. They're making fun of him. This is more evidence. Who knows? We'll see what we see. One thing I do find very interesting about the timing of this is that Drake has leaned heavily into the Manosphere, the Nelk Boys, Happy Dad, Steak, all of these organizations, which I talked about in Shakespearean Shakedown. I've talked about them now in a couple of pieces. But the Manosphere Red Pill Podcast Network was pivotal in getting Trump reelected. And Trump is malleable. I look around, it looks like Trump is selling off the government to the highest bidder. Whatever it is being sold to the highest bidder. We just saw Andrew Tate and his brother. They imported them into America. Now they're in Florida. And the Nelk Boys received a shout out during Trump's victory party. And so Drake has very close ties to them, right? And so when people have problems and they were pivotal in helping a president get elected, they reach out to the president for help. And so I think another thing in the background potentially is now that we have a new administration, one that has thanked organizations that are very close to Drake, that have been Drake's either a stakeholder in or very closely aligned to. What is there an opportunity? Is there a possibility that Drake reaches out to the Justice Department to help with this case? If I'm Drake's legal team, I'm doing that. I'm reaching out to the Justice Department and I'm saying help. And whether or not that has a bearing on this case, we shall see. Now, that's just me speculating. I didn't read that anywhere. But reading the tea leaves and understanding what I do understand about this administration, everything is up to the highest bidder. And if you help him out, he helps you out. And we've seen him do that with a number of different people within hip hop for as little as a shout out. So something else to think about. But nevertheless, this is the update on Drake's legal situation on his lawsuit against UMG. Let me know if there's any other details in here that I missed and if there's other things we should be thinking about. And let me know what you think about all of this. My name is Justin Hunt. Like, subscribe to the channel, follow the company man on everything. Follow the Justin Hunt podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. It's all happening.
Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. The mathematical breakdown of this mighty game of rap we in. It's boom bapping. Systematical culture views us radical, it's all happening. Shaking hands and dapping it. Life through the lens of hip hop, from trip hop to yes, y'all, you don't stop, you don't stop. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening.